the in-ring return of CM Punk.
The debuts of Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson.
Was AEW All Out 2021 the best AEW pay-per-view of all time?
We're talking All Out, so stay tuned.
Hey, welcome to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew.
I'm Andrea.
And on this episode, we're talking about AEW All Out 2021.
Woohoo!
This might have been the biggest AEW pay-per-view so far they've had.
No. This is the pay-per-view where they went all out. All out.
Yeah, I didn't want to make that joke, but it's totally true, because I feel like every single other person reviewing this pay-per-view is going to do that. They went all out. Like, yeah, obviously they did, because they really did.
They really did. Like, honestly, I didn't want to make the joke either when I knew we were going to do this, but it's true. They really did. They delivered.
And they did, yeah. So we've got a lot to talk about. But before we get too deep into this review, we want to give a shout out to the Coldest Water.
If you'd like to learn more about the Coldest Water and find out how you can win your own bottle, check out the description below, which also includes a 10% off discount.
So where do we even begin at All Out? Because so much happened.
I think we should just take it from the top and just go from there. I mean, there's a lot to go through.
There's a lot to unpack, and we're not going to talk about every single match. I mean, I don't really think we need to say too much about the pre-show, which had a fun 10-man match. That was cool. Eddie Kingston and Miro.
That was fun.
That was fun also, yeah. The John Moxley and Kojima match was also really good. It's exactly what I was expecting. Mm-hmm. I think what was way cooler was the debut of Minoru Suzuki.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was really cool. And I'll admit, I don't know too much about him. Like, I'm not great about that, but in some of the groups that I'm in, so much chatter. People were just flipping out.
I've been a fan of Suzuki since Pancrase days, which was a long, long time ago.
Makes sense.
And, I'm such a big fan of Suzuki. Everybody loves Suzuki. I mean, once you see him, you'll know why. Everybody loves Suzuki. Sure. And it's like, this is the match I feel like we've been waiting for the most since New Japan and AEW started working together. Because we got, Nagata, we had Kojima now. But really, like, Suzuki is the hard-hitting veteran that is going to give us the match we are really waiting to have out of them.
I gotta admit, I'm excited. I'm definitely really excited to see what he does and how he is, and I love the idea of him going up against Mox, because Mox is, well, Mox.
I mean, the one thing that's kind of been not so great about the New Japan AEW connection so far is that it has been mostly older name veterans showing up, and a lot of them, they don't move the same. I mean, that Nagata match was really kind of disappointingly short, but it's probably also because of the limitations of their age. With a guy like Suzuki, who is in kind of a different shape, he is going to really deliver something very special on Wednesday night.
I look forward to that. Like, I really do.
We also got Britt Baker taking on Chris Statlander. That was a really good match.
Don't you mean Dr. Britt Baker? DMD?
Sorry, my bad. Yeah. Dr. Baker. That was like probably Chris Statlander's best match at the company.
That was an awesome match.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed that.
They really worked very well together. They really meshed well.
They had good chemistry. They were vibing. I don't know how else to explain it. It was just fun to watch. It kept my attention. I wasn't like, oh, I'm really bored. Let's on, my phone. I watched the match.
And it's just like, their styles are so different also that they really complement each other in how they do it.
Yeah.
And just good build-up, good pacing all the way through. I mean, just really, really excellent work. Solid all the way through.
I mean, occasionally, there were a few moments in there where I was like, oh, this is a little slow. But at the same time, I liked that. Like, it took me a while to adjust, and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is good. This is what we want to see.
And then we get to the Tag Team Championship cage match. Wow.
What was that?
That's going to be like Match of the Year contender, I think.
Oof.
Wow, that was something else.
Oof.
So, the thing with Young Bucks is a lot of folks don't like Young Bucks matches because they will pull out all the stops, maybe going a little bit above and beyond how far you should pull stops out in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, is there a point of complete unbelievability with pro wrestling? And if there is, how often did the Young Bucks take a dump on it?
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is like kind of one of those matches where it's like they did everything. They did every possible false finish. There was a trillion super kicks. I mean,
Okay, the super kicks then. Yeah.
I enjoyed that moment when they did the super kick trade-off.
You mean the circle of super kicks?
Yes.
Okay, look, it was fun at first. I was like, are they really doing this? But then it kept going, and I'm like, no, please stop. No, I want to see more, even though at that point Penta's face was gushing, and there was blood everywhere, and it was just like, damn.
That's what I mean, though, when they talk about the Young Bucks. Like, a lot of folks say the Young Bucks are killing pro wrestling because of matches like this. I mean, there was the match that they had with FTR a few months back where we were hearing similar things, where it's like they're doing so much and that maybe it's actually too much, that it kills the believability of what we're looking at.
I don't know if I agree with that because to be honest, up until the super kick circle, because I don't know what else to call it. Up until that moment, I was buying everything. You know, like, I wasn't sitting there going, oh my god, this is ridiculous, or, like, I didn't have any of those moments. I was just like, okay, this is cool, I'm invested. This is a little gorier than I expected. But yeah, then the super kick circle happened. I'm like, that's where they lost me a little.
Yeah, I mean, you hear from a lot of folks who just really don't like that. Like, one of their criticisms of AEW will be pretty much primarily directed at the Young Bucks because they do all the quote-unquote flippy shit and don't sell things. And there was a lot of that in this match.
Okay, that I could see, yeah.
But I also feel like it's pro wrestling and you're kind of allowed to have a little bit of unbelievability in it. It's just, at what point is it too much? And for me, for this match, I think the super kick party there, if you will, definitely was kind of one of the lowest, but I still enjoyed the drama of it, actually. And I think that's what I got into is, like, because it is a performance, not a real sport. So for anybody, this is a little rant for me now.
Okay.
For anybody who is saying, like, it's pro wrestling, so the idea is you want to be able to finish your opponent, that's what you're working towards. That's true. At least it would have been more true in the 70s. Today, in 2021, we know that pro wrestling is a predetermined sport, and it's a performance art. So I feel like I want to get lost in the drama as much as I want to get lost in the believability of it. Like, for me, a great match, I'll forget what's real, what's not. For example, when we see Suzuki and Moxley this week on Dynamite, that's going to be about working to a finish. Other times, it's more of the performative element of pro wrestling, and I think that's what you get with the Bucks and with the Lucha Bros.
Okay, I see where you're going with that, but at the same time, it is a sport. Like, what they're doing is they're putting their bodies through hell, so I want the drama of the athleticism. I want the drama of the moves. I want, the drama of that. And I guess it's a fine line because, I mean, when I tell people who don't understand why I like wrestling, that I like it because it's literally a physical soap opera, I want all of those elements. I want the drama. I want the storyline in there. I want to see the performative elements. But I also want to highlight their athleticism. I want to highlight their ability, and I guess maybe that's why I want to call it the circle jerk, but I won't.
Wow.
It's just like, that's how it felt, because it was that they were just, we're going to take a dramatic pause, kick, another dramatic pause, kick, yes, it's your turn, kick.
There was that kind of, yeah.
And that's what I didn't like. Like, if they had just gone boom, 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 it would be like, oh, okay. I can understand people's issues, with it. I could see why people are like, because, I want it all to be working cohesively. I understand that sometimes you got to focus a little bit more on the drama, and sometimes you got to focus a little bit more on the athleticism. But I want it to be done in a more cohesive way, and I feel like at times they drop the ball.
But other than, I think, that circle jerk party,
yes,
it was pretty darn amazing. I mean,
yes.
Seeing Ray Phoenix jump off the top of that.
That was friggin' awesome.
Because he didn't just, take a little fall down. A lot of guys would do that. He actually jumped in the air first, then went down. So, I mean, that's a crazy thing to do. Yeah.
I'm just like, what is his body like today?
Oh, he's probably, yeah. I mean, that's the nice thing is they don't have to work on Monday night, so they got a few days to recover.
I hope that he's just, like, living in an ice bath or something.
Yeah.
And Penta's face, I'm just like, ooh, like, how bad was where did he bleed from is what I want to know. Or where didn't he bleed from?
Yeah.
No, that's really the question. Where didn't he bleed from? I know different parts on the body, you can blade and all that other stuff and it'll just gush, but I don't know if all of that was done via blading.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it was definitely a thing to watch.
It was effective, and then I would look at looking at the ring and the blood splatters, that was pretty impressive.
That's a word for it, yeah.
Yeah, that was that was a thing.
We'll probably come back to this match in a little bit, but yeah, we were watching it, by the way. Once that match was done, it was amazing. It was violent, it was visceral, it was very athletic.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, what's going to be next? The Women's Battle Royale.
Yup.
Because they needed a bathroom break match, and I hate to say it, but, like, that kind of was. And this is a point to AEW pay-per-views that, here's the thing that they don't do that WWE does do. They take breaks in pay-per-views. They will have a commercial break for, here's our sponsor, here's what's coming up on the shop website. Here is the next pay-per-view. Here's where you can buy tickets next. Like, it was non-stop. It's like a Japanese pay-per-view where they just keep going, really. Wouldn't have minded a few pauses in the show.
Yeah, it didn't need to be after every match, but there were definitely certain spots where, like, right after a bloodbath, take a break.
Exactly.
Let everyone digest it. Let them, absorb what they just saw.
Because unfortunately, in this case, the Women's Battle Royale became that bathroom break / pause match.
Oh, yeah.
And that was probably, it still wasn't a bad match, but it was definitely one of the lowlights on this event. Kind of a mess in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
it felt very poorly planned with all the things that were going on. I know you have a point about this, which I think I have something to say that ties into it also.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think that this was a deliberate move, but one thing I noticed with all the entrances, I get that they didn't have to, they couldn't necessarily show everyone, but at the same time, when somebody enters, when they're saying, oh, so and so's coming in, why did they miss all the black women? Not a single black woman actually got a camera moment when they hit the entrance. When they showed up. I mean, yes, you'd hear their name. Yes, you'd see them come in. Like you might see them slide into the ring, but not a single one of them had that moment where they just quickly shot the camera over. I know it sounds like it's like a nitpicky kind of thing, but there were like 4 or 5 black women. One of them could have gotten it, like Nyla Rose, Big Swole, Red Velvet.
Considering how I was going to say how Swole is.
Yeah.
Considering how over Big Swole is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I expected at least one of them to just get a quick camera moment. I understand that it was just getting weirder and weirder, but that was just it. Like, if they had a pattern to how they were showing it, that would have made sense. Then you could have at least explained it away, but it was messy.
It was a mess. It was very cluttered. That's kind of the problem of the direction, I think. You'll see that a lot of times on Dynamite too, where they'll miss things. And in the case of this weird format for the Battle Royale, basically it's like a group of 5 comes down, and they're giving everybody individual entries. They all get their music, which is cool, but I think they probably should just do away with that. I think just have them all come out together and just run all down together, because that's what they were doing anyway. They're all running because they had to get there in a very short amount of time. So like, why do they each need to wait for their music cue? No music, or just generic music that lets us know they're coming out. Just let them all run in. Like, only the wild card should get music.
Yeah, I would love that. I like the idea of if, each group comes in as a group, then you could have people starting to fight as they're going down the ramp.
That could be the thing that happens. It's more just let them all come together. Like, don't waste time with the music, because it is wasting time, and you can't show it. Because one of my things that really annoyed me was about the entrances. There was one moment where Layla Hirsch had just come in, I think, and she was German suplexing everybody. And there's this big moment where she's now suplexing or trying to suplex Nyla Rose, and she does it. But it's like while the entrances are happening, and it's like that's taking away from the entrances. Like if you're gonna have individual entrances, show them. And in which case that means everybody in the ring needs to wait, because that's what WWE does in a Royal Rumble. They wait. You don't see a big spot during an entrance.
Yeah.
Nothing happens till they're in the ring.
I completely agree with you on that, because it was just messy and unorganized and chaotic, and some of the optics are not the best with how they organized all of it. And it stinks because it was a decent match. Like, it was a decent...
Yeah, these battle royals are always tough to pull off. I feel like it's one of the weaker ones that they got. Yeah, it's very messy. They haven't really figured out how to do a good battle royale yet.
I don't think anyone's ever really, because even with WWE, I'm not always thrilled with the royales. Like, I like them in theory, but then once everyone's in there, I'm just like, what is this mess?
Yeah. Well, that's probably the battle royale versus like a Royal Rumble too, because this is like a mix of the two of these things together.
Yeah.
But they're hard to put together.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the fact that they even pulled it off with moderate success, that's great. I think it's wonderful. But no.
And to me, the match didn't really get good until we got the last group of 5 in there. Like, once Thunder Rosa came in, that's actually when I got interested, because I'm a big Thunder Rosa mark now. Once she came in there, I was all about that. And then finally we got our wild card.
And that was so awesome. Oh my god, Ruby Soho!
Ruby Soho
I was so excited!
Yeah, I've been a big supporter of Ruby Riott back when she was in WWE, and now she's Ruby Soho, and I'm really, really excited to see what she's going to do next. And really, once she got in there too, the match really clicked, because unfortunately, their women's roster, I hate to say, it feels a little bloated, and it feels like a lot of women haven't had a chance to really work together as much. They're not really gelling together. A lot of spots felt like kind of sloppy at times, and I hate saying that, but it's like a lot of them I just feel like weren't. I don't know. Nothing wasn't coming together the way it would have liked to have seen it. But then you got Thunder Rosa and Ruby Riott and Diamante, and basically the main event level talent coming in there. Like, that's when it got good and crisp.
No, I'll agree with you on that. There definitely was some messiness. I guess I personally just really loved seeing all the women in there doing their thing, because how often do we get to see that? Not enough. There are definitely a lot of talents in there that I'm just like, oh, I forgot that you were a part of the roster. I would love to see more of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Ruby coming in was just awesome. I read an interview with her later, and she said she's never gotten a pop like that before.
That was a pretty big pop.
Yeah. She was just like, oh my god! It was so great to watch.
And hats off to Nyla Rose for her Mystique outfit also.
Oh, hell yeah!
It's pretty great.
Nyla Rose's Mystique, I am here for it. Oh my god, she looked incredible. I loved that outfit so much.
But the big question is, do we like that Ruby won the match? Did she need to win this match? Should she have won the match?
Ooh.
Because now she is next in line already for Britt Baker. And my concern is that Ruby's not winning that belt anytime soon. So, I mean, yeah, we pretty much already know the outcome. So why have Ruby already do this and basically lose her first big main event match?
Unless, of course, they're going to totally mess this up and Britt's going to lose.
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
I don't think so either, but, man, that was kind of one of the weird things that I had felt about the entire night was, did the people who won need to win? And for some of them, yes, absolutely they did. For others, like Ruby, it's a little bit more questionable because I'm glad she did because, you know what? Ruby was so underappreciated and so underutilized at WWE that having her come in and win her first, her first appearance, first match, having her win, that's just, that must have been so good for her.
It's a real good feel-good moment. And I mean, I guess, like, on the other hand, who else could have won this match?
Yeah.
That's also kind of like one of the things that bugs me about AEW sometimes, that there is very transparent booking. Like, you know what's happening. You know what's going to happen. It's hard to be surprised in AEW when it comes to booking, usually. I guess it's fine. It's going to go somewhere. We'll get a great match out of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, could there have been even a different outcome? I don't even know.
I don't either. That's the thing. It's...
Like, we're not going to see Abaddon pop back up again.
I was just thinking about Abaddon, just like...
And her awesome new hairdo.
I loved Abaddon's look. She was scary.
I'm all about Abaddon.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, nice. So, all right, let's move on to MJF and Chris Jericho. This could have been Jericho's final match, and it turned out it wasn't. What a cool entrance he had, too. We haven't even mentioned that.
Okay, the entrance was awesome, yeah.
We didn't even mention the Lucha Bros had their custom entrance.
Yeah.
Jericho got Fozzy, or got one of the guitarists from Fozzy bringing him in.
That and, of course, it was the whole audience singing, which was pretty awesome.
Of course.
I loved how they were showing the different audience members singing
They're all
everything.
so into it, yeah.
Oh, my God, the entrances were... Oh, I loved the entrances on so many of these people.
So MJF and Jericho had a good match, but I don't think it was their best. Definitely not. No, it's definitely not their best match.
No.
I hate to say this, but Jericho's getting up there in age. I don't really think he can put on a 5-star match anymore with the younger folks.
No.
And to his credit, MJF worked within the constraints that Jericho's abilities present. Jericho's still amazing, considering, again, you consider how old... I don't want to say how old. That sounds terrible.
No, but it's true.
He's a veteran. He's been around for a long time.
He is a vet. He is up there.
Yeah.
He is older than us, but he's in incredible shape.
Jericho's still got it, but he's a few steps behind.
Yeah.
And I think MJF was able to go at a pacing that was very comfortable for Jericho.
Yes.
Because I've seen other matches where he hasn't been able to move quite the same way. I mean, it shows. His age is showing. That's what happens.
Yeah, and it's okay. You know,
we're not saying he's old. That's why it's a problem.
Yeah, we're saying it's just your body changes and you get new limitations.
And MJF really worked within that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they told a really great story. Even if the athletics were not like a 5-star thing, the story they told was really good. I enjoyed the whole Dusty Finish kind of thing going on there with the leg on the rope and then referee's reversal.
I loved that. I was sitting there just going, "Oh, you did not."
Yeah, that was really great. Like they really played
that was so awesome. I just loved watching that moment because it felt almost like an action figure moment.
Yeah.
Like you're playing with your figures in your ring, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's gonna win, and then just his foot was just so like perpendicular. Yeah. It looked like this. Yep, I knocked her over, but it looked like this.
Yeah, it was like that pretty much.
It was great. I loved watching the two of them work together. They've always had just the best chemistry.
MJF is perfect as a heel, and Jericho, I think he's generally better as a heel also. So I think that's why it worked so well, because Jericho knows how to be the heel so well.
Yeah, but having him be a babyface heel is like, I don't know, I kind of dig it.
It's like all those tactics kind of merge together. Like basically all of Jericho's knowledge of being a heel was imparted to MJF. So it was just like great storytelling. Yeah, I really like this.
MJF really is his heir apparent, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. I could easily watch them often.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I could watch them forever or anything, but I could definitely watch them work together for long periods of time because they're just so good together.
Like, I'll be cool not having an MJF Jericho match again anytime soon.
Yes.
Hopefully they don't do this like one more time. I think I'm good with it as is.
Yeah.
We can move on to something else.
Yes.
But still happy to see more of Jericho, always more of MJF. And by the way, did you like MJF's entrance outfit? It's like King George from Hamilton.
He's such a nerd.
Yeah.
I don't care. Come at me, MJF. You are a musical theater nerd. It's one of the things I really like about him, though, because he is such a freaking nerd.
He is. So let's go over now to Darby Allin and CM Punkville, because this is the return of CM Punk. This is what everybody really came to the show to see. And so this is our first time seeing CM Punk in the ring in 7 years. So I don't know if you were really watching much wrestling when he was around.
I was not. I mean, I knew who he was. I knew bits and pieces here, but yeah, I didn't have access to watch, to be honest.
So you're viewing it from a more objective point of view. So what do you think of really your first time seeing Punk? Here after hearing all this hype and seeing him, what do you think?
Okay, it was a good match. It was an excellent match, and he clearly still got it.
Yeah.
He's definitely putting the work in. He looks like he's in great shape. I know he was trying to control the pacing of the match, especially in the beginning, and I liked that, but at times it did feel like it was slowing down almost a little too much, which, it was cool. It took a while to just kind of adjust to what I thought it was going to be, because since I didn't really know what Punk's style was, it's like, is he, the quick kind of guy? Is he the slower kind of guy? I definitely think there's still some ring rust on him.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, Darby was great, and the ending was interesting. I mean, there were just some really interesting moments, like when he did the what's his finisher called?
The GTS.
Yeah, when he did that, and Darby fell out of the ring.
Yeah,
that was awesome because he's like, ah.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of athleticism, there's definitely a lot of rust on CM Punk's part right now. It definitely shows, and I think his style too. We don't know what the new CM Punk style actually is yet. Like we know what he did 7 years ago. That's not who he is today. So that's going to develop over the next probably few months, really.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see, because I think this match, more than anything, I did see it more as like the vet and the youngins, and the newbies coming in, and almost like a passing of the torch kind of thing. It's like, yeah, Punk had to come in. Punk had to win.
Of course, yeah.
There was no way Punk was losing. But at the same time, they were working together, and it was almost like, it felt almost like a demonstration in a way, where it's like Punk's showing him, like, nah, I know you're bringing me everything, but let me show you how it's really done.
And even with Punk's current limitations in the ring, so we don't know what he is still capable of doing yet. I mean, they told that really great story with moments like him hitting this finisher and then Darby falling out of the ring.
Yeah, that was
stuff like that added to the drama of it, more so than the athletic drama of it. That's what really made the match.
Yeah, there was excellent storytelling in there. And the finish, then he does the finish at the end, Darby's out, and then Sting comes out, and it's just like,
Who I do not want to see him wrestle.
No. There was a small part of me that was hoping that there might be a small attack on Punk, but then they come out and it's just like, respect.
Exactly, yeah.
Respect. And then Punk goes to Darby and he's all like, respect. Like...
Respect Nux.
But it was a cool moment, But at the same time, it also felt almost a little bit like Punk was also saying goodbye. Which, like, it felt a little bit like, is this his final thing? I'm like, no, it can't be. He's got more to do. So it was just interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how Sting's doing it. It was really interesting to watch. I look forward to seeing what Punk does. I want to see more of what Punk does as he moves forward.
Yeah, like I said in the video I made a while ago, I'm curious to see where he's at now, what he can do, who this new version of CM Punk is. So, he's back. That's kind of what matters. What he does next is really what I'm more looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, we had, I guess, sadly, our next bathroom break match because, there's no pause in AEW shows.
Oh, God.
So it was the return of Paul White to the ring against QT Marshall.
That was a quick match.
That was too long for me, actually.
That too. It was too long and too short.
Like, the fact that Big Show had to do so many smacks. Man. It's like, no, one's enough, Paul. Move on.
But damn, he looks so good.
He still looks good. He's still got it physically.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, it's not that he still got it. It's just like he busted his ass to get into that shape.
He did, yeah. And he hasn't lost any of it.
No, he's all like, nah, I worked my butt off to get here. I'm sticking with this. So I was like, yep. Let's do something with it.
So, I mean, there really isn't much top out here. It's just that seeing, Paul White is back in action. That's kind of what matters. And I hope it's not a thing we see a lot of either.
No. But I do think it's hilarious that at one point the commentators did accidentally call him Big Show.
I'm sure it's probably Jim Ross, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure it was Jim, but I'm not 100% sure. But I just thought it was funny.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of guys who, you can easily make the name change if it has been too long, but he's been the Big Show since 1998, I think.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's just, I mean, I look at him and I'm like, I know your name's Paul, but nah, you're Big Show.
Still weird, yeah.
You're always going to be Big Show.
In my head, I was doing the same thing, so.
Yeah, so, it was just a funny moment. I was like, ooh, someone's going to get yelled at. And now we're up to the main event.
Yeah, and I want to point out, actually, before we get into that, we didn't even talk about this yet, but this was the first AEW pay-per-view without Cody Rhodes on it.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I didn't miss him.
I didn't either, because I only realized that until after we got this far, until basically after the show was done. I was like, oh yeah, there's no Cody, because he's taking his break. So I mean,
yeah, well, he's got a new baby and a reality show and all this other stuff going on.
It's just weird seeing that, but no Cody.
look, I enjoyed Cody. I think it's great whenever he's there, but yeah, there was enough talent and enough good stuff happening that we didn't need him.
Yeah, and that brings us to our main event now. Christian Cage, Kenny Omega. Could Christian Cage upset Omega and actually win the belt? No. But man, what a showing he had!
Was such a great. Oh my gosh, Christian's another one who I wasn't really watching during the height of his his career. So seeing him wrestle was just like, dang.
And I feel like this was one of his best matches of his career also.
Yeah.
I mean, he really put a lot into this one. I mean, the match he had with Kenny Omega a little while ago when he won the Impact title, it was good, but it wasn't like amazing. But this one here felt like the performance of a career for me. This was a real defining performance for Christian.
Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. I mean, one of the feelings I got overall, because I promise it'll tie back into this, one of the feelings I got overall while watching the entire show was that there was definitely a maturity versus youth kind of vibe with some of these matches. Yeah. I especially saw it with the Punk and Allen, match, but with this match, it was just like, oh, these are two experienced wrestlers doing their thing, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is what I want to see,
Yeah, and that's kind of a point. Maybe we'll probably talk about this a little more later on, but since we're talking about it now, I think, with AEW, one of the criticisms is they're bringing in too many old farts, if you will, and, it's not necessarily incorrect either, but this isn't like, 1990s WCW where, you got Hogan and Nash and Hall and Hacksaw Jim Duggan's hanging around there too. Mm-hmm. The difference between those talents and today's talents, like, Christian Cage can still move. CM Punk can still go. Chris Jericho, he's a little slower, but he can still have a great match.
Yeah.
Guys like Hacksaw, we're not talking Greg the Hammer Valentine here. This is like the real old guys who are like way over the hill who can't even tie their shoelaces without a problem. These are guys who have kept their bodies up to date. They've kept themselves in great condition. It's a different world today in pro wrestling, where these older guys, like look at AJ Styles in WWE.
Oh my God, yeah.
He can still move. They can still go because they've kept their bodies and they maintain them in a way that the guys from the 80s did not. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a fair comparison to make those thoughts of, it's the 90s WCW. But on the other hand, there is a lot of older talent here.
Yes.
And that means older talent takes away spots from younger talent. But it's a balancing act. And
because I also feel like a lot of the older talent is doing their best to help elevate the younger talent.
That's the difference. Everybody says 90s WCW. In 90s WCW, the older talent always went over.
It was always about them.
Yeah, this time around, they are, even if the older talent does go over, like in the case of Punk and Darby Allin, but they still had an amazing match where no one, even though it's a loss on his record, no one really lost. It made Darby Allin look amazing.
Mm-hmm. I will say that there is a small difference, I think, with MJF and Jericho, because I feel like MJF is in a league all of his own. Yes. I hate to say it like that, because I really like Darby, but MJF is in, like, this crazy other league, so it felt like he was matching Jericho a lot better.
He has such good instincts, too.
Oh, it's just, I hate how much I like him, but I love that I like him,
It's like, if he's this good now, what's he going to be like in 10 years?
That's a scary thought. But Darby, I mean, you still see the youth on him. You still see how young he is. But again, he worked so well with Punk. Yeah. It was great.
Part of that is his youth, because the things that Punk can't do, Darby has to do for them. So taking that bump out of the ring when he gets the GTS, that athleticism is what elevates the storytelling that Punk brings to it.
Yeah, exactly. But then you go into the main event, though, and it's like, snap.
Like, I was worried that Christian was not going to be an equal to Kenny Omega, because Kenny is the king of 5-star matches, but he brought it. They looked like equal parts in this match.
Yes, absolutely. I never really felt that there was any, disparity in terms of, who was better than the other.
And I will say that, I was watching Christian during his big reign of championship runs in WWE, and even when he was in TNA and Impact as well. And I was never really a big Christian fan, to be honest. But seeing him work this match, my thoughts changed. This was a very different Christian. This wasn't the Christian I was used to seeing. This was really superb.
It was just absolutely... Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was a fantastic match. It was great watching him. I even liked Kenny more. I mean, Kenny is a superb athlete. He's a great storyteller. I just want to punch him, though.
So he's doing his job right.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, like, the facial hair. I'm just like, dude, that's just
the Harley Race look does not work for him.
No,
but that's part of why
he's
doing
stupid.
It. That's part of why they're doing it. Like him and the Young Bucks.
So stupid.
All the stupid stuff in the face. They're doing it to piss fans off, so it's working.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The fact that they're getting this response from me, it shows that, I can recognize it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was enjoying him so much more watching him with Christian.
Yeah, I did not think it was going to be as good as it was.
I didn't either.
I was really worried the man was going to just suck, because it's Christian. I've seen what he can do already. What's the difference? But no, they made a match that I was not expecting to see.
Yeah, and that That's like the best kind of thing. I
Yeah.
love when that happens. But then you get to the ending of that match.
Man, AEW played us like a fiddle.
Oh my god, that was just like, what just happened?
So, originally the word was that Andrade was going to have a match with a mystery opponent since Pac was out because he couldn't get into the country or whatever.
Yeah.
But then they seemingly just removed that match. Andrade did a promo saying, yeah, no one's here. Oh, well.
Yep.
So then we get to end the show, and Omega's in the ring saying, no one can hold the candle to us. We're so great.
Yeah, that was just...
And then out comes something. I don't think anybody expected this to happen.
I don't know. I kind of did.
I think we were expecting somebody to come out, but
I went back and forth because I heard rumor that it could happen.
I was to be fair, staying off rumor sites that weekend.
I wasn't even on like really rumor sites per se. It's just I was just seeing a little bit of chatter, and following on an Instagram here or there, and someone says it, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
There's definitely hopeful people because basically he didn't have any waiting clauses because he was just done. That was it.
Yeah,
so no clause.
Peace out.
Exactly. So when Adam Cole showed up,
oh my god.
Yeah, I think everybody's a big Adam Cole fan. I've always been like, whatevs, I guess.
I'm sort of, yeah.
I like him a lot, but seeing him show up in AEW, I felt like, okay, now I'm really interested because he's got guys who can really work with again. And not to say that he didn't have guys to work with in NXT because he did. He had plenty of dudes to work with, and he had great matches. It just for every reason. It never interested me as much. Now that he's in AEW with some of the guys I guess that I really like, I'm really intrigued.
I like the shirt.
Well, the shirt's pretty great too.
The shirt was just awesome, and I liked all of...
ShopAEW.com.
Yeah, right.
We need an affiliate code for them.
We really do.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, it's just but anyway, I like the shirt, and watching him come out was just like, oh, are we about to get to see another fight?
I flipped out. Yeah, and
I
then...
did flip, but I was just like,
And then he turns heel.
Oh,
wow, perfect. Like that's like a perfect NWO style
that
heel
was
turn.
Just like, oh, what, you thought I was gonna hurt my boy? Come on.
And the Young, of course, the Bucks and Kenny smooch Adam Cole. Like, what a heel moment.
That was so beautiful.
And I thought that was it. That's how they got on the show. But no.
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 Yes. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. This is terrible.
This is absolutely awful.
Bryan Danielson, not Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson is in AEW.
Well, we knew he was. We knew it. But him coming out like that.
Actually seeing it.
Oh my god. The audience flipping out as hard as we were at home.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was flipping out. Like, even if, the fact we knew he was coming, but just seeing him there in the ring.
There was something about, I mean, it was electric.
That's the magic of pro wrestling.
I know.
You know what's going to happen, but it still gets to you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly, like, that was the moment I wished I had been at the stadium.
Yeah.
But I was also really glad I wasn't.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, that's the moment where I was like, I can't yell because there are people outside the door, but I really want to.
So the American Dragon is now all elite. I am so excited to see what he's going to do. So what a show. What a jam-packed show. I got a few notes, so I'm going to throw it away, see what you think about this here. So, as we mentioned, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson. So we got all these recent departees of WWE. Mm-hmm. Then we also have Christian, Jericho. We got a lot, Paul White, Mark Henry, all of the older folks are coming in as well. Yep. So their roster is starting to feel a little big, a little bloated, and a little overloaded with guys from the Big E.
I didn't get a chance to fully read it, but I know Tony Khan is actually quoted as saying that there is no full roster at AEW.
That feels like a problem to me because their roster is getting pretty big. Not a lot of room on the show for other folks.
Yeah, and that's definitely an issue.
I mean, everybody's having great matches, which is awesome. But, I think one of the biggest criticisms you hear, and you will continue to hear probably forever, is that it's just the WWE rejects coming on board.
But that's just it. These aren't the rejects. These are the people that the WWE failed to use properly. And that's why I'm okay with a lot of these as of right now. I mean, I'll be honest, Bryan Danielson is actually one of the few where I was almost a little bit on the fence with. But at the same time, if they weren't letting him wrestle, and they weren't giving him anything to do at WWE, then it makes absolutely sense. He goes to the place where he's going to be able to wrestle.
And he'll have good matches.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, for every guy you bring in from WWE that's not homegrown talent that you're showing off.
That part is true too.
And we know that Tony Khan really likes putting his guys on the shows. That's why Dark exists. That's why Rampage now will exist. Probably get some more folks on that.
Yeah.
Elevation also exists. So he's trying to get folks out there on at least the YouTube platforms. But it's like all these guys who you want to try and build up, you can't now because you've now just added on that one night alone. You've now added 3 new guys.
But, yeah.
You got to do something with.
Yeah.
Actually 4 if we're considering Punk. Yeah, 4 guys.
4. I mean, plus you had Miro and Mox and
Paul White.
God, it was just
nearly. I mean, not every single match had a guy from the WWE, but
No.
a lot of them.
Most
of them did actually. Yeah, most of them had a guy who were fresh off within a year of being in WWE.
Yeah, and basically it's gonna have to be a balancing act. I am okay with the idea of having them start on AEW, on the big show.
Nice.
Yeah, right. And then start rotating them through the different shows. Have them working on the other shows so you can move the fresher talent. To have them coming onto the main card. I'm okay if they start doing something like that because I think they have to. At some point they're gonna have to because you can't just have a show that's all or mostly former WWE people.
And I think AEW has actually done a really good job of that with the women's division, oddly enough.
Yes.
Because they have actually rotated talent in and out very well. I mean, looking at Hikaru Shida's reign, she faced off with a lot of different types of folks, and a lot of folks who we haven't also seen since, really. Like, Abaddon has probably been mostly on Dark or Elevation, I think, since her feud with Hikaru Shida. So, I mean, that's kind of what that looks like, is Hikaru's run, if you will. So how does that translate into, like, the men's division or that kind of thing, which is an even bigger division?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? It's a really big roster, and it feels even bigger than WWE, because theirs is pretty huge, too, but they've been slimming it down, and in the process of slimming it down, AEW's been gobbling them up.
Yeah, and there is that rumor that they're playing, that AEW is playing right into the WWE's hands. Whoa!
That's my thoughts on it. Yeah, I mean,
it's possible. I'll be honest, it is 100% possible, but I think a lot of these guys just want to be able to wrestle, so they're going to take what opportunities they can get.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if they're still able to do good matches throughout any of the various AEW platforms, they're going to take that opportunity because Tony Khan is actually putting in the effort to get them wrestling, even if it's not as visible as they might like. So I think it's a balancing act. I think they're going to have to be very conscious of it and very careful of it. And I mean, AEW is still so new, so
they are making a lot of mistakes still.
Yeah,
and that can't be helped.
Yeah, these are still growing pains. I think eventually they'll figure it out, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah. So here's the big question that I got for you to follow up on that. So with the news that Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard are now in charge of NXT, and NXT's new logo somehow looks very colorful all of a sudden, just like AEW's. But the fact of the matter is they've just lost a bunch of talent, and Adam Cole is now, formerly the face of NXT. He's now in AEW. Is NXT dead now? I feel like it's very hyperbolic to say that, but, I mean, really, look at what's been happening with NXT. Look at what happens when the folks from NXT go over to the main card. Look at the fact that they're now saying they're not going to be hiring indie wrestlers anymore. They're going to basically be building up folks from the home level, like Gable Stevenson. They're basically getting folks who were not pro wrestlers before to build them in the mold of WWE. AEW is going to basically be the place to take all the indie guys. So is AEW now? Maybe a better question is NXT dead? Is AEW the new NXT?
I want to hope that NXT is not dead because there was so much good talent there. However, I'm also seeing rumors that Vince wants to focus more on looks.
Yep.
And go back to the days of old.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Joy. Awesome. If that's the case, then yeah, NXT's gone. It is a dead brand. I don't want that though because there's so much talent. There's so much talent that just has not been properly used when they get called up to, to SmackDown or Raw. And that just, it's disgusting. Like, honestly, it's disgusting the way that so many of these wrestlers have been treated.
Yeah.
And then
that's why they all leave.
Yeah. Or they get released. It's like, I still love a lot of the wrestlers from WWE, but I hate the product right now. I absolutely hate the product, so I don't want to watch it as much.
It's been the same with me with NXT, actually. As much as NXT has amazing matches at their big pay-per-view events, the NXT TV show I've never really liked. And when it came time to choose between AEW and NXT, I preferred AEW, even though I didn't really know who half the guys were. I really just liked what they were doing better.
Yeah, AEW has been it has its ups and downs, but I think if you look at it from a larger picture, I think overall it's been consistently solid. So I do not think that they are the next NXT because they are different from NXT. But as the place to go for the indies, for the indie wrestlers, the next step up for them to get more exposure, stuff like that, then yes. I think AEW is seriously stepping on WWE's toes a little bit. I could go to WWE, but AEW is going to treat me better, give me a better work-life balance, decent money, and I don't have to kill myself or sell my soul to you.
They're definitely creating a new alternative. Now they really are the alternative. I felt like at first they wanted to be that way, but they were not in a position to be that way.
No, they're totally the new alternative.
Especially with All Out. I mean, I know a lot of folks who were not wrestling fans before. They came back because of CM Punk, and now they're sticking around because the show is just so damn good. It really did bring a lot of new eyes. That's something Tony Khan said he wanted to do, and even Cody, I think, said too, is they want to get the lost wrestling fans, the ones who left the company behind, who left the WWE behind a long time ago, and stop caring about wrestling. They wanted to get those fans to come back, and that's what they did. And All Out was officially that night where I would say that they really did change pro wrestling. And they changed the fans of pro wrestling. Like, they got them back. They got all the lost fans to come back. They got the old fans to take a look at AEW. And all the folks like us who've been into AEW just made us feel even better about, being fans of it.
I mean, well, you're more hardcore than I am, as everyone can tell. So I come in and out of stuff. Sometimes I'll just be like, I can't deal with wrestling right now. I just, don't have the brain for it, whatever. When I come back to wrestling now, it's almost always through AEW. Like, always. I've been trying to pay attention to what's going on in WWE because, again, I really like a lot of the wrestlers. I don't like the product. I don't like the stories. I don't like any of that crap that's going on right now because it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
But I still want to support the wrestlers. But no, I'm going straight to AEW because even when I don't have a clue who most of the people are, they're still doing really well.
Yep.
I still can follow their stories. I can still be impressed by their matches. I can just enjoy wrestling.
So was this the best AEW pay-per-view we've seen so far?
Yes.
Easy yes.
Absolutely.
Every match was really great. I mean, there were no bad matches in the show. Like, really, the women's battle royale and the Paul White match were definitely the lowlights. But, I mean, tell me a wrestling show that has all perfect matches. And even the lowlights, I mean,
they were decent.
Paul White was a quick match. Longer than it should have been, but relatively quick.
Yeah.
The women's battle royale was a slog, but it did at least pick up and it gave us a Ruby Riot. So.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a full slog. It wasn't like a slog.
No, I feel like I am doing a disservice to it. It was just an unorganized mess at times.
Yeah. That's really what it came down to. They were fine once they were in the ring. I felt that they were pretty good. It kept my attention because believe me, I've checked out of so many of those.
Like, it was really for me the last quarter of the match that it got good.
Oh yeah, no, I'll agree. I completely agree with you on that. But there were still really good things happening consistently throughout. And again, Ruby Soho. I want to call her Ruby Riot, but nah.
And even Soho. And even a main event match that I didn't have high expectations for blew me away.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
So that's our look at AEW All Out 2021. What a great night. So the big question is, can they keep this momentum? Because you can't keep relying on debuting wrestlers every single event either. Yeah, at some point you got to stop. And last night they really gave us a lot. And
that was
you can't keep using that as a storytelling device. You can't keep surprising us with wrestlers. So now they got to start really solidifying what they're doing with these people and giving us good shows each week on Dynamite and on Rampage. So I guess we're gonna keep watching. We're gonna see what happens next. It's gonna get real good now.
I'm excited. I honestly cannot wait to see where they go from here. I'm excited to see all the new all the new people who debuted. I'm excited to see the people who have been there. I'm invested.
Yeah.
I'm way more invested in AEW because of this show. So yeah, they definitely need to work on the storytelling as they go forward because I don't always want to see the old blood fighting the old blood or the old blood fighting the new blood.
Gotta let the new blood make their time to shine.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta highlight them. We gotta elevate them because there are so many good people in the company.
Yep.
But this is promising. All of this, we said it when AEW first came out. We've said it consistently throughout. It's like they are showing us what wrestling could be and what it should be. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what's happening next. I can't wait till Wednesday.
Yeah. So we will see what happens on Dynamite. So until next time, I'm Matthew.
I'm Andrea.
This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.